is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news and intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversations. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Guardian Radio Today is brought to you by Bahamar, John's Department Store, and Print Masters.
Happy Monday to all you listeners today. I am your host here on Guardian Radio Today, the precious one, filling in for yours truly, Garth Maynard Rose Burrows. And I'm so excited to be here today. I just want to give you listeners a brief summary as to who I am. My full name is Precious Morley. I am an entrepreneur, a business owner. I am a beekeeper, a life purpose coach, a soon-to-be author, and now I'm here hosting this wonderful radio show today. And so I'm here with my co-host, Akira. I'm going to let her say hello to you, and we have some wonderful guests in studio today. We have a wonderful conversation. I can say that I am no longer new to the Guardian Radio because yesterday it was the second time that I hosted the show Remark. We had a wonderful, wonderful show. We had guest Bishop Darren Woods. We were talking about church, if it's a place of healing or helping the community. And it was such a good conversation. And he brought such a great perspective on the church and how it is indeed a place of healing and not hurting. And so today we have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful conversation that I'm so excited to get into. But right before you say hello, Akira, I just want to say thank you, Garth Rose Burrows, for allowing Akira and I to have the opportunity to be a host and a co-host here. I want to thank Dwight Strawn, the entire Guardian Radio staff, and our good producer, Chris, who has always been so helpful to us.
Thank you, Chris.
Yes. We thank you so much. So, Kira, go ahead and introduce yourself to our listeners today.
It's Marvelous Monday.
Yes, indeed it is.
Good day to all our beautiful people in the Bahamas and our international listeners joining us online and across the airwaves. I'm Akira, and I'm most honored to have given this opportunity to be in the company today on Guardian Radio 96.9. This afternoon, we're being intentional.
Yes, indeed.
About our conversations, our values, and how we show up for one another, no matter where you're listening from. But I also want to make a note to all of our listeners out there, Gabby. We need our listeners to keep Gabby in prayer. Gabby is now at the Princess Margaret Hospital. She's not herself 100%. So we would appreciate everyone keeping Gabby in prayer. And also, if anyone from the Princess Margaret Hospital is listening, could you also keep an eye out for our Gabrielle McKenzie, please? We would appreciate it. Thank you for being locked in with us.
Yes. So today, our conversation, we're going to be talking about remembering who we were, love, values in our community, and how do we get back to where we were. And before we dive into this deep conversation, I'm just going to let my guests introduce themselves. We first have Miss Diane.
All right,
let's
I'll go
ahead.
first.
Yes, go ahead.
Am I on?
Yes, you are.
Well, good
You're on there.
morning, Guardian Radio, and I want to thank my two hosts here because I was really touched that you would reach out to me and ask me to be here because it is a subject of immense concern that
Yes,
I put in
indeed.
all my music, and that if there isn't a day that this is not on my mind. So thank you.
Yes. We appreciate you being here. Now we have another guest who is he's
stranger.
no stranger to Guardian Radio. But go ahead and you introduce yourself today.
My name is Pastor Dr. Cleveland W. Eneas III, also known as Kahunan Kusara. And I'm happy to be here as a guest.
You're happy to be as a guest, huh?
Yeah, you get to do all the fun stuff.
You get to do all the, oh man. Well, that's no problem. That's no problem. So I just want to dive in and I want to ask this question. When we talking about community and where we were as a people, can you both tell us, and we'll start with Diane, to tell us who we were? Because I see that we've lost our sense of identity of a people. We're not who we once were. So can you tell us who we once were?
Well, I would say that the Bahamas that I grew up in was a paradise in the sense that it was a community that embraced everybody's peculiarity, and that is how you know that a community is healthy. There was a lady that walked around that we call Queen Nottage, that every Sunday, she amazed me, she would get dressed.
Right.
In this gold dress, she'd put on these gold shoes, she'd have a gold scepter, she'd have a crown, and she was our queen. Today, I would say it just wouldn't happen. There is just not that community, that strength, that love, understanding that would allow nature and God to express, through us, whatever. Nature is eccentric.
Right.
Look at the peacock. Look at all the
Yes,
stuff. And so
definitely.
if we become conform, if we are looking alike, sounding off alike, then something's off.
Definitely,
Okay.
definitely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, when you say us, right? Automatically, yes, we talk about the Bahamas.
Yes.
But I also want to be clear about the fact that the Bahamas is the fruit
Right.
and Africa is the root.
Okay.
Yes.
So a big part of who we became as the majority in this country being of African descent, excuse me, we became a people who ultimately were responding to a global oppression. And we had to take the bits and pieces of what was left of our various tribal identities and hodgepodge them together as much as possible to create what we call a Bahamian culture.
Right.
All right. It is a paradise, right? Or definitely was very much a paradise, and it still is in many ways. But for people who remember what it really used to be, it's not the paradise that we remember. I know Miss Diane, she would have remembered further back than I obviously would have, right? But I think as a people, we have come under so much influence because of. I grew up in a time when the TV didn't turn on until 5 o'clock, right? If you turn on the TV before 5 o'clock, you hear boo. That's true. That's all you heard, right? Then you heard the national anthem at 5, then Sesame Street,
Yeah.
and you had all these different shows, and then by 12 o'clock, the national anthem came on again, and the TV was off.
Right. Right.
So you didn't have TV. I know, well, sorry, the people in Freeport had cable. They had
Right.
cable from a long time, right?
The privileged ones.
Yeah. The Freeport people had cable.
Right.
But we didn't have cable like that in Nassau, right? But I remember, too, when the airwaves were open after 1992. Because, again, on the radio stations, well, you only had really ZNS. You didn't have these private stations, all right? And there's a lot of Bahamian music, which wasn't a bad thing.
No, definitely.
When you get into the politics of it, obviously, people would complain about their voice being taken away from them, depending on who was in power. But musically speaking, once the airwaves opened, and you had a lot of the hip hop, reggae, and other genres of music that really began to influence not just the musical style, but how we perceive, how we live. And so a lot of that changed the community.
Okay, you said two things
Yeah.
that I really would like. I mean, you started off real strong.
Well, we ain't got 2 hours. You got to jump in.
Before you make your comment, I just want to throw these phone lines so they're real quick. And the number is 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. And the family of islands is 300-5720. And our text line is 422-4796. Okay, Diane, let's
Okay,
go.
so I'm going to pick up on two threads.
Okay, go ahead.
The first one that I picked up on and is the African identity. And I was sent away from the Bahamas at 16. And I've been out there. And coming back home, one of the things that became obvious to me was there was a desire to not be African. It's more pronounced now than because if you read Clement Bethel's thesis on the Bahamas,
Okay.
which is an important reference and that I hope it becomes a book, he says that the only vibrant communities were the African communities. That's where we get Junkanoo. That's where we had the
that's
issue.
true. Yes.
That's where we planted them in. These were people who came with knowledge
Right.
that it was ancestral knowledge, and they kept it going. And they kept it going even though they would mix these different tribes together. They created a language that today we tend to look down on, whereas, let's say, the other communities, if you listen to Bob Marley, as famous and as powerful as he was, he spoke Jamaican dialect.
Yeah, man.
Okay,
Yes.
proudly. I was at a conference at UB, and the ambassador, I believe, of Haiti came in. It was celebrating Haitian Creole and Bahamian Creole, and it hit me like a brick that when he came in and he said, I am going to speak Creole, okay? And I said, what Bahamian educated university level can come in and do the same? They can't speak it. Okay, or when they speak it, it's kind of I'm being cool. And so that language that we look down on was an amazing feat of ingenuity. To create a language so that you could communicate,
Right.
Right.
why would you look down on it?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you preserve it? And that's what so that's one of the missing links as to what happened in the culture, is that language binds us.
Ah.
Okay? And so in all my travels, you'll find that indigenous people fight to preserve their indigenous language. Right? They don't look down. Now, my drama was growing up at the time I grew up, it became fashionable for you to not speak it. And so I wasn't allowed to speak. In fact, I got a smack one day for saying something, because I was on San Salvador and the kids spoke it and I repeated something. And don't you ever say that again. And so I say to myself, there's nothing wrong, because I obviously had to go out in the world. And if I only knew how to speak Bahamian, then
Right.
I would not be able to have communicated,
Right,
right?
right.
So Bahamian should be bilingual. They should be speaking Bahamian Creole and Standard English. The Standard English connects us to the rest of the world. The Bahamian Creole keeps us strong as a community, right? So now the music, when these slaves were singing to survive, something extraordinary happened, and I don't think we celebrate it enough as God being present. We go back to the Bible and we skip over one of the most amazing things that went on, which was taking black people into slavery, okay,
Right.
and moving them around the planet, and they survived because they sang. So what did that music come out? It came out whatever. It was reggae, it was salsa, it was calypso, it was whatever. And hip hop brings it home, right? And so it's a wrong conception to think that we are threatened because we listen to the music that they sang. And at that time, when I was growing up, we listened. I knew Sam Cooke. I knew it didn't stop us from dancing and
Right,
and,
right.
and singing to whoever was singing,
Right.
because our clubs were thriving communities.
Yeah.
And so, how do you kill a community? Well, you kill its culture. And music vehiculates culture.
Yeah, that's for
Artists
sure.
are supposed to be the spokesman. We look at the communities and we put what they want to say into music, and it becomes food. We give it to them. That is how God feeds us, and we feed our communities. That's the role we play. If we're feeding them, we're going to grind tonight, forgive me. That is not food for the soul.
No, it's not.
All right?
Definitely
And
not.
there's too much of it.
Yes.
All right. Another thing is you embrace all music. You don't decide. You don't become selective, because every being who is creating music is creating it in the form that he receives it or it comes out. And you take it in and you accept it as being a part of our community. Right? So I'm going to stop there and let you talk a little bit.
No, that was that was good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we're all here learning, and so that's a good thing. So I want to ask you both, and Akira, you can chime in too. What are the core values that we see growing up that we have strayed away from as a community?
Well, when you say core values, it's interesting because nowadays, when I talk to younger folk, I'm happy to say I'm old now. You know,
You're not that much old. Right?
Older, not old.
But you're wiser.
Let me tell you why I'm saying that, because you know, the young brothers now, when they see me, they say, "Yeah, I seen you." You know what I mean? I seen you now, because I don't die in my bed. But when they talk, right, it's manners and respect.
Right.
I hear that a lot in the street now,
Yes.
right? And when you ask what core values did we lose, in many ways we lost the manners and the respect that we had for the older generations,
Yes.
Yes.
and obviously for each other,
Yep.
right? And there are different reasons why that has happened,
Right.
right? Scripturally, when we look at it biblically, in the book of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 12, it says, "And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold."
Yeah.
This iniquity is lawlessness, right? And this idea of the love of many shall wax cold, that phrase in Greek is just psycho. So we are now living in the mind of the psychopath.
Wow.
And what does that mean? When we think of a psychopath, we obviously go to Hollywood and you think about someone breaking through your door and trying to chop you up.
Right.
And that is
Losing
on
their
one
mind, so to
that,
speak.
that's on one side of the spectrum. Yes. But psychopaths are generally people who don't follow rules, who don't follow laws, who don't follow norms. So I just Googled, I said, do psychopaths follow the rules? They say psychopaths disregard for rules, laws, and norms. Psychopaths do not follow the same code of ethics as most people in society, which is why they often behave in immoral or illegal ways. These may include minor offenses like inappropriate comments and profanity, or serious offenses like crime and violence. So there's a spectrum. So we're living in the mind of the psychopath. We're living in a mentality that we celebrated because
Right.
this first world mentality is the mentality of a war culture.
Right.
And what they've done successfully is made us look at their war culture as, because it's the dominant culture, as the way to salvation, as the way to prosperity, as the way to gain in the world and losing your soul, ultimately. Right? So I'll leave it there.
Yeah, I that's right on. I
Yeah.
would say that the core values, our ancestors had them. All right, love thy neighbor as thyself. Okay, love God above all else. Respect creation.
Yes.
Right, care for the elderly and the sick, and assist those that are dying. Assist those that are being born, because coming in and out of this planet is quite a journey. And that knowledge if it's lost, then you don't know how to go out. And those coming in are left in bushes.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
My Lord. Wow.
That is so true. So, Akira, you have any values that you can say that we have strayed away from?
We're not our neighbors. We're not being our neighbor's keeper. You know, growing up, I remember knowing the neighbors next door. If someone came over, hey, so-and-so came over. Well, someone was over here to see you today. But it's like now we don't know our next door neighbors.
Yeah.
And some people, they're just to themselves. They don't even want to open up to, because who knows
Yeah.
what trauma they have dealt
Yep,
with.
yep.
It's almost like, hey, I don't even want to have no dealings with you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like being our neighbor's keeper, people are just to themselves nowadays.
Well, that stems from when you talk about love thy neighbor as thyself. That all hinges on you loving yourself.
That's true.
So if you don't love yourself,
You can't
or
love
if you love your neighbor
can't
as
love-
you love yourself, and you hate yourself,
Yep.
then you hate your neighbor.
Yes,
That's
right.
true.
You understand?
Yeah. That brought me to mind, because these are the things I really think about, and I am so grateful to be here and be able to. I think we need to sit down and talk more
Yeah.
about these things. So, identity, what you identify with, is what you become.
That's for sure.
And I would say the porch was essential to our culture.
Yes, the conversation.
So when I came home, I said, "Where are the porches?
No more porches.
what happened to the porches?"
Wow.
You know. And then so the porches came down, and the barbed wire and the cameras went up. Right.
Wow.
So the communities are formed, and culture. It's not me that's saying this, but somebody that wrote a book in French called and explained that culture itself is a product of agriculture, which is why it's in the word agriculture.
Right.
So as people work the land, and all people work the land, then they had a sense of seeds and growth and nurturing and
Powerful.
harvest. And so they celebrated life at different stages. They became festivals. We plot them. You'd find that there are certain dates that line up with the Earth's solar eclipses and Earth. It's
Right.
we're supposed to follow this.
Yes.
We're supposed to be connected to Earth, Mother Earth, and so as we leave the land, then we leave all notion of life, and we're eating fast food that's dead food. And it's killing us, but it's addictive, right?
Yeah.
And
All right,
so,
call me out.
And
Passion God.
I walk a lot, as you know, and it disturbs me when I walk through streets, and I see so much garbage, and I say, if a child is raised in this environment, then it cannot grow right. Okay, and we are responsible. I refuse to hear that. The word ghetto is an insult to the ancestors that built those communities. And when you say ghetto, you put a wall between you and whoever's living in there. The other thing is, I would say there are some people, there's a generation that needs to do their mea culpa, because when your parents scraped and saved and cleaned and washed so that you could go away and have your degrees and come home and be the first doctors and pilots, what did you do? You wanted to run away from the rich community life and go build your big house and live by yourself. And today, what are you? Nostalgic. Oh, do you remember when? And do you remember how? Those were values that you had to pass on. And
Yeah.
so the dismantlement, if you go back and look at the homes where some people in the community where I live, where they grew up, if you see what they leave their houses to become, those are your ancestors.
Yes.
All right? And blessings, if you read the Bible, it always comes down through the ancestral line.
Yes.
Right? So if you turn your back on your ancestors and the grass is growing in the graveyard, I even saw garbage bags in the graveyard, then we need to see these things. We need to clear
Yeah.
up the
Yeah.
garbage in our minds.
Yes, that's
it's in
for
our
sure.
head, and that's the cycle.
Yeah.
Yes.
And there's a
Yeah.
neurosis.
Right.
There's ambient neurosis that has taken hold of this country. I will say one thing, and it's almost nobody wants to perhaps hear it, but when your country's economy is based on mass tourism, if you do the study, you will find that there were similarities in countries who took that path. One of them is a total breakdown of community values. Communities disintegrate. Another one is dirt, the connection between the host country and its land that it's selling. It's like prostitution, right? You don't wrap a diamond in brown paper, right? So why are we wrapping our islands in garbage?
That's for sure what we do. Let's just go to the phone line real quick. Calling you on the air.
Hey, how are y'all doing?
We're great. How are you?
Great.
That's good, that's good.
I know this voice.
Okay, so I have a question for you guys, right? We look at the word love. If you want to know what love is, you got to go back, right? Because love isn't just something where I do something for you, you do something for me. No, it's greater than that. If you don't love, like what Anku said earlier, if you don't love yourself, you don't love your neighbors. But greater, if you don't love yourself, then you don't even love God, because God is love. And so
God is
it
in you.
started with God. It started with Him. So if you don't have love in your heart, then you don't have God. And how could this be if we call ourselves a Christian nation? How could this be? You think about it now.
Thank you, caller.
Powerful.
Yes, it was
Yes,
indeed.
it was indeed.
And so, why have we strayed away from love? Because I mean, I'm not. I could say that I am the youngest in the studio here, and in saying that, I can say the things that I've seen, and my growing up, the principles and the things that the foundation was love for me. But the only thing I would say, I told my mom, I said, they gave me so much love. I never knew that there was a world out there that couldn't reciprocate the love that I was given. She always preached, give love, give love, give love. But then she didn't teach me how to guard that.
Right.
And so I learned the hard way that.
And so what you experience is a microcosm of what we as a people experienced, because we gave other societies the same love that we thought that they would reciprocate. Right?
Right.
We call it ma'at.
Right.
And it backfired on us because we ended up being in a situation where we were captured, we were enslaved, we were subjugated, even though we were and are these very powerful people who had a culture,
Right.
right? The culture based off of beneficial rituals, right? That ultimately made us a recognized culture, a successful nation. All of these things ultimately is what was done to make sure that we were out of our minds so that the resources that we lived on could be exploited. So that the areas that we controlled were
Right.
no longer under our control. So when you ask about the question of love, we don't love, we lust. We love to lust and lust to love.
Yeah, lustful people.
You see? And if you have, and the Messiah said, you of your father the devil. There are people who were lustful, and that's what we're following in the footsteps of.
All right, so we're going to take a quick commercial break. We will be right back on Guardian Radio Today.
Step inside the John Baptiste Jazz Club at Bahamar, where the rhythm of the islands of the Bahamas meets the soul of New Orleans. Every night, the lights dim, the music swells, and the air fills with that unmistakable energy, the kind that makes you close your eyes and just feel. Savor signature cocktails, curated small plates, and live performances from world-class musicians, all in an intimate, artfully designed space where every seat has a story. Whether it's a romantic night out or a spontaneous evening with friends, this is where you want to be. The John Baptiste Jazz Club, only at Baha Mar. Reserve your table now at bahamar.com/jazz club or through the Baha Mar app, because every evening plays its own tune.
Always on the go? Missed the show? You can now listen to Guardian Radio talk shows anytime, anywhere on Spotify and YouTube by searching Guardian Radio 96.9 FM or by entering the name of your favorite show. You can also listen by logging on to GuardianTalkRadio.com and clicking on the podcast tab. Guardian Radio, continuing to provide you with fresh news and smart talk anywhere, anytime, all day.
This holiday season, come to John's on Rosetta Street, Ocamica Road for all your footwear and fashion needs, where we've got you and the family covered. Shoes, bags, jewelry, clothes, and even home appliances. John's has everything you need for work, church, play, or the party in your life. John's has Skechers, Steve Madden, New Balance, Nautica, Hey Do It, Patrick Ewing, and other trusted brands. A John's gift card is the perfect gift. So come on into John's and start your holidays off on the right foot. Merry Christmas, Bahamas!
For fast, reliable, and impactful printing services, look no further. Let Printmasters bring your masterpiece to life. We stand by our quality products that is second to none. Our affordable pricing and friendly, efficient staff makes Printmasters the ultimate choice for all your printing needs. We can deliver any type of printing services, from banners to booklets to business cards. You name it, we can print it.
Let Printmasters bring your masterpiece to life.
Located in the Nassau Guardian Building, telephone 302-2361.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
And we're back on Guardian Radio today on 96.9. We're discussing remembering who we were, love, values, and our community. I'm just going to throw out our telephone lines for you one more time: 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, and then the Family of Islands is 242-300-5720. And then our text line, powered by BTC, 422-4796. So just before the break, we have a text that's coming in. Oh, forgive me, please. I didn't introduce our guest in studio with us again. We have Miss Diana and then Uncle Sarah, along with the precious one, and I'm Akira. So our text says, great talk show today. Remember, religion that does not honor Jehovah God Almighty is a destruction to any nation or country. So we have allowed anti-Jesus Christ religion to creep into the Bahamas, and we are paying with our lives and blood. Repent, Bahamas, and live again in freedom.
What's interesting about that text is that when Moses was speaking to, they say, the burning bush, and that burning bush, which we know it wasn't a burning bush, it was actually an angel. But when he asked, who should I say has sent me, when he went to those people, those Israelites, he didn't say Jehovah.
Right.
He said, I am
Yes, he did.
that I am. All right? So Jehovah is actually what creeped into this country and helped to destroy it. Because Jehovah is one of the war gods of the European cults. Don't believe anything I'm saying. You can go do your own research.
Right.
The word or the letter J didn't even exist
Right. That's
during the
right.
time of these scriptures.
Right.
All right? And so that includes the word Jesus as well, because the word was Yeshua. So when you start to see the one prayer that the Messiah gave his disciples, the Our Father prayer, it says, hallowed be thy name. When you change Yeshua to Jesus, and when you change the I am to Jehovah, you're corrupting the original ways of the Messiah, of the Most High Heavenly One. And that is what infects this country today in many ways.
Yeah, I'd like to pick up on that because I study what is called the sacred language or the language of the god or the green language, the language of the birds. And language is sacred and it vehiculates, it's a way to communicate with the divinities, right? And so we've lost that secret knowledge, basically. And when the I became a J, in fact, that's the creation of the I, the ego. All right? And to answer your question at that level, when did we move? We shifted from the heart to the head. The head is not where we are supposed to reside. In your head are thoughts that go around and round like a machine that drive you this way and that way, and you feed into things that are anti-natural, and you do things that are not right. In the heart, only the heart can receive and hear God. And from your heart, your actions will always be right. Okay, so if you shift, so when you shift to the head, well, the head is vanity. Look at me, look at who I am, look at what I have. And it's about I have as opposed to I am, right? And so...
I like that.
Yes.
All right, so that shift has, and I would say, well, this is me saying this and I open it to you to think about it. If you read Othello, when Shakespeare wrote Othello, the first book was written by an Italian. It was called The Merchant of Venice. And at the time in Europe, Europe was colonized by us. We can assume that. That feat. We are the generations, right? So they were colonized by us, and by the time
When you say us, who?
the Africans,
Okay.
the Nubians, and so on, and so all of them, right? So when that book was written, that was when Europe started to say, we no longer want to be considered a colony, because all the knowledge that came to them, and there's nobody to refute it. I mean, they can't go back further than the Greeks.
That's right.
Okay?
That's their classics.
Right? That is all they can tell you. We go back to, well, the Greek, whatever they're talking about, that knowledge came out of Africa.
Oh, wow.
Okay? And so this Moor, they call them Moor. If you go back in Europe at the time, you would be astounded. They were the nobles. Okay, all the outfits, the chivalry, all of that came to Europe through Africa, right? And his daughter marries a black African, a Moor they call them, and he writes this book, How Dare You? Okay, so this is going to be the start. And then when Shakespeare takes Othello, he's going to... there's a word I don't know in English. I know I speak French in my head a lot. So, but he's going to take that fallen Othello from the Merchant of Venice, and he's going to give him a possibility of redemption. So before, what happens is the white person who's whispering in Othello's ear gets him jealous to the point where he murders his spouse. But before he takes his life, he says, I recognize you. And I'm not saying white people are devil. I'm saying that's who the person was in the book. And he says, you are the devil. And so before he dies, he is restored back to the heart.
Right.
Because that evil whisperer pushed him in his head. Okay, and I said, this is extraordinary. This is how the whites have conquered the world. This is why the Indians are dying. If you look at them, they can't live in their head. They drink alcohol. You can't live in that space. All right? No. And so they pushed all these natives and natural people into the head space, away from the heart. Isn't that amazing?
The mind of the psychopath.
The mind of the psychopath.
Yeah.
We're not supposed to live there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, wow. We have a call on the line.
Calling you
on there. Caller, are you there?
Yes, hello.
Hi, go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment. I'm listening to you guys. Uncle.
Yes, my brother.
Yeah, here you all talk about the love that we lost as black people, but aren't we, isn't love a European concept? Like Romeo and Juliet?
Their form of love.
I think we lost the mutual respect for one another
We-
as opposed to the love, because when love turns to hate, you don't want to see that. But if you and I have a beef or have a
Well, love, when you spell
situation
love
going
backwards,
on,
it's evil.
if we have mutual respect for one another, we'll walk away.
No, I agree. But that comes with divine love. That comes with
What you
divine
say?
love. That comes with divine love. And that's
Yeah.
something that the European never had.
Right. Right.
So what they introduced to us was lust. That's what we said earlier.
It's love and love.
Yeah. But
You
love
talk to any homicide detective and, who
Lo-
into
love is just a word. Love is just the word evil in disguise. Because if you spell it backwards, if you spell love backwards, it's evil.
Right. Right. And that's basically, you see, because when you ask any homicide detective, if someone is involved in domestic violence,
Crime and passion.
you ask them why they do it, the first thing they say is, I love them.
Exactly.
Crime and passion.
You're very true. So I want to love the Most High. Don't love me.
Okay.
I mean, when you look at it, men supposed to, according to the Bible, men supposed to love, women supposed to respect, And I mean, according to what I read, but
I agree with
Hello?
No, and when in regards to him saying that, when men are supposed to love, women are supposed to respect.
Yeah.
I mean,
I've heard Dr. Miles Monroe talk about that. But go ahead.
That's scripture,
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, I believe that if we were to have, and it starts with legislation, policies, and programs. If you have a legislation or a policy position, the government that is, who blatantly disrespects another human being, you're not going to get much done. And I'll leave this with you in conclusion. You have a lot to offer. But the thing is, it starts like this. Our country, when you look at how we set up, 75% of us were born out of the traditional family structure, which is marriage. But when you have laws on the book for hundreds of years who blatantly disrespect the biological father, we had one saying that children have mothers and no father. How disrespectful that could be. What could we get out of that? Then you have this divisive thing, women against men, men against women, talking about women's rights, fathers' rights. It really should be human rights, And we'll cover a lot of, we'll solve a lot of situations. But they have these sneaky European divisive things that could be legal and fatal, and that's what they use to divide us. The Willie Lynch thing. Keep us divided, and it's easy to conquer. So that's basically where we are. And I believe if we look more at our African heritage and what we bring to the table to do some more things, That's me.
Okay, I would like to respond to that. Having spent all my life in Europe, it would be wrong to imagine that God created any race that was purely evil. And if you go back and you look at the Celts and you look at the different peoples that were conquered by the Christian religion, okay, that were forced and that were thrown to lions and so on and so forth, right? The first Christians, and there's a lot going on. But what I found, and if you go, you will see there are amazing things that happened in Europe. I am a fan of the whole knighthood and chivalry, and they had a code of honor where they would defend the widow and they walked the dangerous roads as people wanted to go to Jerusalem. So we must not make the mistake, because we don't know that culture. You have places like Lourdes, where the Virgin Mary appeared, and it's a pool where people go in and they can come out healed. It's been there. There's Joan of Arc. There's a lot. There's St. Francis of Assisi. So they have brought forth persons who have been good for the earth and who have brought in teachings as well. But there's the persons who came in and that were interested in developing the material, materialism, industrialization, the chemical poisoning of the earth and of us and of life, right? And that's that even though they were whites, they are not all the whites. Okay, Scotland is not like Ireland, it's not like France, it's not, so on and so forth. You've got different ethnic groups just as we have. And so I would really like to put it out there that it would be a mistake to simply say whites. Okay.
So, I know what the Messiah said, you are of your father, the devil, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he was speaking to a group of Hellenized Jews,
Mm-hmm.
right? When we look at the 9 areas of people activity, religion, economics, labor, sex, gender, education, law, war, security, entertainment, and politics.
Right.
If you study each of them, you'll see that they've all been influenced by racism, white supremacy, right? Now, racism, white supremacy does not have to be administered by white people,
Well, that's true.
okay? Because we're not we're not in a country being ruled by white people.
No.
However,
The system is in place, right?
the system was in place, and before any black person could rule you in this country, they have to swear an oath to the king, his heirs, successors, forevermore. We speak their language. We follow their gods. We follow their mores. We follow their systems. So we're not functioning, I'm going back to the mind of the psychopath. We're not functioning in our true mentality. See, to remember means re means to do again.
Right.
So when you remember, you're becoming a member of something again. You're becoming a member of your tribal identity. You're becoming a member of your true religious identity. You're remembering. You cannot have a culture without rituals, which is why to say Bahamian culture, we've really had a hard time putting our finger on it because it doesn't come with any real rituals.
Right.
All right, we've been anglicized, we've been Catholicized, we've been Europeanized.
Right.
Right.
We have Junkanoo.
Well,
That's the
Junkanoo.
only thing, and that's the only thing
No,
we got
it's
from.
something.
Yeah.
It is something, but it is the expression of something.
Right.
Right. It's junk. Anu.
Right.
Well, come on.
I'm just saying the actual. I know John Kwa, the second, who was gone into Princess Town in West Africa, and he's found out the reality behind who this John Canoe person was. Right, he was a very powerful warrior. But I'm also now juxtaposing that to what we've made it.
Junk.
Anew.
Junkanoo. Renewing the junk.
Do we even know the origin of it? Like,
No,
Yes.
that's-
Yeah, we do.
yeah.
I mean, there is a serious book. There are a couple of serious books that have been.
I think it's
that
called
have been-
Black Rinse or Black Wash.
Yeah, and there's also
Let me pull it up.
the religion of Junkanoo and so on. There's I didn't bring it with me, and I didn't think to bring it with me. But what I read, because this is a subject that, as I said, I'm very passionate about, was that at the time it was a male thing, and they would come out at a certain time, and they would be on stilts, and they would be on, and they would just march and have this thing. So that was I would say, and I defy anybody to say that slavery was just bad. Because something good always comes out of something bad. We have the example today of ancestors that came through that Middle Passage, and I repeat, there were no brights and mulattoes and mango skins that came through that passage, no matter how superior they may feel or how they tell you, okay? And that's an issue here as well. We really need to get back to who we are, right? And so there's room for everybody. But there doesn't have to be friction. We can embrace the Black Seminoles in our country. Why don't we talk about them? They are a part of what we've call the Bahamas, yes? And so what happened to me during slavery was a chance for God to manifest. Because there's no way you can come out with music and you could come out with how they have impacted this whole. There is not a country that has not been impacted, okay, with something, the fruit. And we're still eating and chewing that music, right? We haven't created, whites don't create any music anymore. They just wait for us to come out with something and then they run with it.
They own it.
Yes,
They own it.
it's all
That's
there.
what it's become, right?
Yes, they do.
But look at the flame that's been carried from the work songs to hip hop. There's not been throughout all the music, all the singing was to survive. And this is how, through our heart, we capture these celestial messages that are meant for us, right?
Yeah.
So it's important to stop and sit and be quiet.
How does one be quiet with all the external noise that's going on?
And that is it. So there are, in countries, they've built monasteries where people literally dig holes when they go down in the hole and cover it up.
Oh, wow.
And they stay, yeah. This is not new to us, but it's never been noisy as this, I believe. Right? But think of the children. And I'm just saying this, that we need to give our children things that send them back within to everything, all the toys, all the games, it's pulling them out, right? If you give a child music, art, theater, it pulls them in.
Right.
Okay? It takes them to that rock, that solid rock, where they discover that they can come out and produce and create and express God, all right? Through what we are supposed to simply be doing on earth is giving expression to divine, okay? So I don't know where I want to go from there.
I just wanted to share, to add to what you were saying, from what we know as the original books of the Bible, right? But it talks about original ancient African or Tamarian culture bred respect for all other civilizations, peoples, and lands, and honored their right to practice and live in accordance with their own genealogical and cultural rights, as long as they didn't interfere with the inborn rights of others, thus creating and maintaining each genetic family's heaven on earth.
I think that's it.
You understand?
Yeah.
And if we could all respect each other, we could all have a heaven on earth. But when one group comes and says, our heaven is everybody heaven.
Right.
That's what there's
You
only one
understand?
religion that did this,
Yes.
on earth. The Christian religion is extremely
monotheistic
intolerant, and it
Christian.
will not tolerate. You understand? And so they all have their own versions, and they should be respected and heard and loved. And when, again, I keep coming back to this heart. It is not fictive. It's a real place. And the journey, the pilgrim's voyage, is to be able to cut through the sleeping princess or with the briars. All these stories are important because they revive what is in us that has to rise and cut through, okay, and manifest. And so it knows what to do.
Okay, so we will be right back after we take a commercial break.
This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news and intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversations. 96.9 FM.
And we're back. I am your host today, the Precious One, alongside my co-host Akira. In studio, we have two wonderful guests, Diane and Uncle Sarah, and we are in studio talking about remembering who we were, love, values, and community. And before the break, we just was talking about the reconstruction of our community, and I want to ask each and every one of you that what can we say that we are see that is taking place in our society that is helping us get back to that place that we actually was?
Well, I know for me, I've spent the past, I want to say, 15 to 20 years in the community, in Baintown, we started the Holy Coptic Church of the Black Messiah in 2010. In 2011, I assisted Dr. Jacinta Higgs and Mrs. Rhonda Wright, my wife, Aminette Hika, or Tisha Fritzenius, and others come together to start a school called the Catherine International Academy. Right, so church, school, which has taken a lot to get both of those respective institutions where they are today. I thought it was important for me to put my energy into those two projects, and that's outside of the work I've done in the arts with Thought Catcher Enterprises, and we did had a improv show called The Spot. We had a radio soap opera called West Street, which is coming back soon. And so I personally have made it my business to create spaces for young people especially to be able to express themselves, to learn about themselves. I participated in the new history book that was released. I wrote a chapter in that book.
Awesome.
And so the reality is there's room for people to step up and to share as best they can to make this country what it should be, right? Being on the airwaves gives an opportunity to share and to allow others to share. Because ultimately, if we're not having these conversations, then we're being influenced by social media and the wider media to a point where we don't even recognize ourselves anymore. You know, and so as we have this conversation and as we understand that we have lost the community feeling that we once had, or reality that we once had, there's no one particular thing that we could point out. It's a group of things. Ultimately, some would talk about the influx of different cultures in our society. But then as Diana said, our main industry is tourism. Our industry is based on different cultures coming into our community, which destroys the fabric of who we are as a people, because what we end up doing is we just want to serve.
Right.
And we want to serve others more than we serve ourselves. So we go from picking cotton to folding cotton.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where we're at.
Okay, so that's beautiful. And you started in what year?
For the church, it was
Yes.
2010, and then the school was 2011. I'm not actively on the ground at the school, but I'm always in the Catherine. But Dr. Higgs and the team down there are doing a wonderful job at the school. Yeah, it's a wonderful school.
So in 2013, I came home after living outside all my life. And I answered a call of a gentleman. I'd come home with the French National Radio. I'd done a radio show in Paris with somebody who was passionate about our music, Joseph Spence. And I ended up learning so much from her that we decided to come to the Bahamas. And we actually came with a team and they recorded. And it was broadcast all over France, nationwide, for 6 nights consecutively.
Wow.
Can you imagine?
Wow.
And so during that trip, we went, Cat Island was one of the islands we chose. And I met a gentleman, an accordionist, Frank Williams, who passed away last year, sadly. And he was lamenting the death of the accordion.
Wow.
And he was saying, if only I had an accordion, I could teach my son. So at that time, I really didn't know, but I came to the Bahamas when I was programmed to perform in a festival, and I just wanted to show the French people who we are, because I know they really love authentic culture. So I I think Angelique McKay was very helpful in the Bahamas Tourist Office in Paris, and the minister at the time of Culture and Tourism were helpful, and Obi and the website came to Paris and performed with me. And Miss Grant, who was the assistant director at the time, came. And I was speaking about this, and she said, maybe you could start with a camp, so when I came home, that's exactly what I did. I applied, and we started this camp, and I brought in Robert from France. And why did I do that? Because what I realized was that the accordion had been passed on, and it never been formally taught. So children, like on Cat Island, could only watch and sneak the instrument and then figure out whatever it is they'd heard on it.
Right.
I mean, that's an amazing thing if you think about it, right? So this instrument was before electricity, so it was in the church.
Mm-hmm.
And everything on earth goes by two, by the way, day and night, male, female, so everything.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't have secular without sacred. If you kick one out, the other one fails as well. So it was in secular music and in the church. And so I thought, if I bring home someone, then it could benefit everyone. And I did something. I thought, since I was a language teacher in France and these kids could only be all eyes and ears, why don't I have them, the classes taught exclusively in French, which would force them into that heightened awareness? And it worked. Those kids are, our children are, I need to say this, our children are extraordinary. All they need is for us to give them what they need for them to develop and grow. They took this on, and it was in French all day, and this went on with Robert for about 3 years, and then other French teachers came, and at COVID we shut the doors and gave those who were active, we were able to give them their own accordion, and Walter won. They continued. Robert would say when he left. When he returned a year later, they were at the same level he left them. I don't know if you realize, you learn an instrument and you stop playing after a week or two and see if you have the level. Something amazing was happening, and I keep getting this, okay? And so Walter won the Battle of the Band this year at the Rake and Scrape Festival. And we've got we were at Edmund Moxie, we were with Zion Baptist, and we now are getting into those children in the Grove in Bain Town that carry the seeds, the ancestral seeds of our ancestors, and they are being isolated. They're being told.
So you're going into the communities.
We are in the community, but the fact that we were at Zion Baptist or that we are at the Edmund Moxie Center meant that they service Bain Town and the Grove.
Right.
And so those children that are there. So what's amazing about the accordion for me is that it brings together the kids from all districts and all islands under a common ancestry, the African. All right, and that is powerful, right? So they know that they are carrying something that was passed on and handed down and preserved, and they know that without them it will die, right? Yes. And so I am seeing, you will see, because anything that a child is doing it's done like a child in the womb. You don't see the baby, even though they're cheating and doing scans, right? That was the dark womb, right, for a reason. And so things are, you just keep giving them you have to keep reminding them that we're one, that they are us, right? And we're them, right? And so that connection has to go from Westridge to Baintown. Otherwise, we can't be a country. It has to be inclusive of everyone. It has to be the homeless on the street They are part of us. And if we walk by them every day and leave them in the street, then we're failing as a society.
Definitely.
Yes.
You want to chime in and say, what is it that you've seen?
I've seen a lot of organizations going into the community, feeding the community, clothing the community. And to go back on what Bishop Darren Wood said yesterday on Remark, it stems from a lot of persons are looking out for, when you show compassion to people, then they become more open to what you're giving them or what they're receiving.
Yeah. People don't care what you know till they know you care.
Yes, so it's all
exactly
about
what he said.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, rebuilding the communities, going in the communities, a lot of organizations and even churches have been doing it. Just getting persons back. Yeah.
I'm also a member of Omega Sci-Fi, and we sponsor a community effort through Enia Street.
Yeah, okay.
We do back to school drives,
Yeah.
Christmas drives, and whatever else they need us to do. We come through and we assist. So
Yeah. I would like to see us reclaim all those lands where they throw garbage. Those communities I saw this in, the French, they go and they had little houses, but they had lands that they could rent or I don't know how they got them, and they would go and farm in these little squares, right? And I thought, wow, this is amazing. You got to keep your hand in the earth. You got to stay connected, right? And so imagine if we could occupy all those spaces and grow food, that the community becomes responsible. I was thinking of this, all the almonds that fall in the ground. Almond is
I see that
an incredible commodity. It's expensive, right? And I was saying, if we could give a community a machine that would allow them to pick up the almonds, process them, make oil, package them as seed, they could feed themselves.
Yes.
Okay? So I just would like to see us helping people help themselves and reclaiming these lands and getting the garbage out, all right? And growing flowers and fruit or whatever, sugarcane, whatever can grow in there, right? and
no, it's an important perspective, because often I feel that people are disrespectful of the land in many instances because they don't feel a sense of ownership.
Right.
So this ain't really my land. I can toss whatever I want to toss to the land. We are in a nation where the frustration index is very high.
Very.
The cost of living.
Extremely high.
extreme, it's gonna pop.
Yeah, the cost of living continues to go up.
That's right.
And then when you try to make some money on the side, they try to tax it. Right? They being the government and successive governments, right? So when you begin to, as a person, try to figure out, well, does my community even love me? Right? We being asked to make the community better, but does the community even love me? Does the community even know I exist? Or is the community just there to, make sure that everybody survival of the fittest? You understand? And that's
Well, I had an interesting experience walking, because I walked from home here, and I had to cut through those streets, and I came to this beautiful, those beautiful silk trees.
Yes.
And it was just packed with garbage, and I said, why are you doing? I just spoke out loud, right? And I got an answer. And this guy started walking with me, and I said, if cleanliness, I said, if godliness is next to cleanliness, he said, no, it's the other way around. If cleanliness is next to godly, those people are ungodly. Okay, something's wrong here. And then this other lady chimed in, and so, you know what? I said, these people don't want that. If you start the dialogue, they don't want it. They don't want the garbage around them. And some of the houses are painted so pretty and the yards are kept, and yet they've got to come out and deal with this ugly sight of garbage.
Well, we don't want to deal with what happened to us. We want to talk about slavery as if it happened.
Right.
It's happening.
Yeah.
It is.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
And some people, when you begin to have those kind of conversations, yes, it gets uncomfortable. Because why should you be comfortable in my misery? Why should you be comfortable in my misery?
That's
Yes.
right.
You understand? Yes, you should get uncomfortable when we start to have these conversations.
That's right.
Because we ain't comfortable.
That's right.
Right, exactly.
That's
You understand? We suffering
That's right.
as a people. This is why, and you got people with money and without money with suicidal tendencies right now.
So true.
You understand? On the full spectrum, people are suffering. Just don't mind people in these big houses. Check to see if the light on. Check to see if the water on. Check to see if mommy ain't beating up daddy or daddy ain't beating up mommy.
You're right. So, a church told me there are people from those big houses that come looking for food as well.
People struggling in this country.
People are,
Yes, yes. So, and as you mentioned, I wanna ask this question, like, because you talk about the cost of living. My question is, have we normalized survival at the cost of integrity?
Yes.
Yeah, well, if we listen, if you want to domesticate an animal, you stop it from hunting.
Mm-hmm.
You put it in a cage,
Right.
and you feed it whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we are domesticated, neurotic animals because we're not supposed to be in cages. We're supposed to eat from the land, right? And so, if we don't understand that that's not going backwards, that it is being here and now and natural, right? Then we will suffer, right, from that disconnect, because everything comes to you through the fruits and the food you eat. Didn't Dr. Sebi say that? Let your food be your medicine, right? So a healthy body is a body that's being fed with the nutriments that it needs. So when we ran around in the guava season and the hog plum season and the dilly season, we were giving ourselves everything our bodies needed.
Especially for that time of season.
We didn't know it.
Yeah.
Okay? And so I said, what if we created a program called A Dilly a Day? And we asked all the people that allow the mangoes and dillies and almonds to rot, if we were able to collect it and feed the children, so that they would have all these fruits, and they would teach them how to bark the almonds and how to take the almonds out of the seed.
Wonderful initiative for those who would accept it.
Exactly.
You know.
It is. It is.
And just before we close, because we're talking about community building, we were at Spotlight last night, right?
Yes.
And
yes.
I
wasn't invited.
and I am as an
that was a historic
it
show.
was I didn't grow up here, as I said, so I didn't know most of these artists. I was just blown away from the beginning to the end. And everyone was there. It was Sweet Emily and Freddie Munnis Jr. and Links. All of these people were there.
I Pat Raman sang one song last night. I got to try play that this week.
And I said, that's another thing. The radio is not reflecting what's in this room. They're deciding that this is Bahamian.
Right.
Okay, and that is doing a disservice, because all of those people in that room were Bahamians, and it was a rich evening, right?
So it wasn't just rake and scrape.
It wasn't just what they're calling rake and scrape on top of it.
Right.
So we really need to stop trying to control God and how the music is supposed to be, right? And embrace everyone who's ever the music has to open as well, right? And so thank you for allowing me to say that.
And when we talk about the cost of living going up, right? When you go back to our original cultures, as Diana said, that word itself goes back to literally growing food, right? If we did that, and if we began to manufacture in this country, if we began to live off of the land, see, once you could eat, that's a huge part of your shoes is gone. once you can eat, because you can think then.
And eat right.
Eat right.
So your mind
Right.
and your heart
Yeah.
are going to be in the right place.
Right.
And you're going to be inspired. You're going to make changes.
I remember years ago, I was talking about farming. I had a senior customs officer in the car with me at the time. And I told him all these wonderful things like we talking about today. He looked at me and he said, son, that's a great idea. You want to farm, you want to feed the nation. He said, let me tell you something from a customs perspective. He said, cheapest you go buy some land in Haiti and start a farm in Haiti and ship the food there. Because that seems to be the concern in this country, how much money we can make off of the food and the duties
And that's
coming into this country.
Yeah.
This is a senior customs officer who
Yeah.
said this to me. And I say, so there are forces in this country understanding that people are suffering, that have this mentality because they controlling the ports and they controlling the way we are taxing people in this country, that would rather see people suffer. Why isn't Bamsey taken off the way it could have?
You're right.
You understand? We
Right.
got Andros is almost as big as Trinidad. Okay? We shouldn't have to be importing almost $1 billion in food every year. Someone is making money off of that.
Well,
Someone doesn't want us to grow food. Someone doesn't want us
Because
to
I
actually
think,
function
I
in
think
this
about,
country.
I thought about the guava. I would say, why don't we have a guava grove? A lot of coconut. Well, because we like guava duff. Well, that's one of our dessert as Bahamians. But
You could do
There's-
so much with the coconut.
There are, it's up to us. If we really want to live, then we have to take responsibility. And when you see a child in what they call ghetto and that I call ancestral, offer them an apple, offer them something, right, that they will not get. You understand? It starts there. That just came to me. And when you go outside, do you see those people that are no longer human beings out there? What are we going to do? Wait until they rot, or do we take responsibility and bring them in, bring them home?
I think, and I agree with you, I think a lot of people, unfortunately, are seeing the issues, but they saying, I got to take care of me first.
right.
Like, I want to help you,
But I
But I have
gotta-
other obligations.
my car, the light bulb in the gas tank, when it's turned on, that bulb can blow soon because that'll stay on.
yeah. So
You understand what I'm saying? Right? People suffering themselves. So we have to learn how to pool resources and we have to learn how to work together. But you cannot do that without a unification doctrine. See, the body goes with the mind, where the body follows the mind.
Right.
So if everybody has their own path to God, as we would love to say, then what happens is people only associate with their specific churches, with their specific civic
It's
groups.
become clannish.
Very much so. Social clubs.
And
And what happens is the common goals are not met.
No.
And so you have certain groups of people that are okay and they're looking out for each other and the money is circulating in their circles.
It's not coming outside the circle.
Because we need to remember our ancestors
Yeah.
who had no name, no language, no freedom. How on earth did they do it? We're not as poor as they were. No matter how poor
And a matter of
we
fact,
think we
they
are.
was rich.
But they were rich.
they were.
They were carrying music and all kinds of stuff
They had
that
all
they
the
were going to give
resources.
birth to within. And they rode the storm, okay? So if the Bible, one of the rhyming spiritual songs said, I walked in Jerusalem just like John. And we need to remember that we need to incarnate those qualities. It's not enough to say John did that. That does not affect me. But if I become John,
You
right?
have to.
You
Because
have to
John
incarnate
did his
those
job
qualities
in his time.
Right.
Right. So if we would remember the courage, the resilience, the creativity, the loving kindness of these people, we would be there. All right? But if you're ashamed of them because they're too black, because their lips are too full,
Well,
because
people
they
will tell
speak
you-
this language you don't want,
listen.
right?
People will tell you talking about your ancestors, you worshiping dead people. That's what they tell you. They tell you you trying to
Well, the
trying to
Bible is nothing but dead people then. So close it.
yeah. That's a good point. That's a
Yeah.
good point. But everybody who they want to people who follow examples in the Bible, as we all do in some way, shape, or form.
Right.
These people respected their ancestors.
Oh, gosh.
This is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Yep,
Always.
they did.
You
They mentioned
understand?
that.
Always.
The Messiah saw Moses and Elijah. They was going way before him.
Always.
You understand? So if we are truly serious about, I think the big fight in this country is we trying to prop this country up on a culture that has no real rituals. See, to say, and I'm not just saying it for the Bahamas. Ghana doesn't have a culture. The Bahamas don't have a culture. These made up nationalities that we received after we have been enslaved don't have cultures. We have expressions of the remnants of our cultures, but we don't have true culture. True culture comes
From
out of
agriculture.
agriculture, but agriculture ties in with the celestial heavens.
That's right.
Genesis 1:14 talks about the signs and the seasons based on the stars.
That's right.
I ain't talking about astrology. I'm talking about astronomy or solar biology.
Well, how did they find Jesus? What were they looking
Exactly.
at? Where were they
They
looking?
look for a
Right.
star.
So they just
Exactly.
really are so intent on making us idiots.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, Dr. Amos Wilson, a great professor, great psychiatrist, he would go to universities and he'll say, your classes are causing you to be dumber.
That's right. That's right.
Dr. Amos Wilson, look it up.
That's right.
He said, because you cannot expect to get the same education as someone in the dominant culture when you're not a part of that culture. Because you're learning what you're learning to go and actually work for the person who may be sitting on the side of you who is actually going to come out of school and own a business. I've experienced this personally. I had to go off to university. I had friends who just went to work for their family.
Wow.
When they came back with my degree, they were showing me their house and their boat.
That's
You're
it.
just about to get started.
Yeah, no. And so also let's remember that I think Jackson Burnside told me, he said, if somebody wanted to build the kind of houses they built back then, they would not have been able to. But you would call John and you would call Peter and you would call Paul. And you say, I'm going to build. And they would come. And
The
help
community
you.
help
The
each other.
community,
And
yeah.
so the concept of being poor just wasn't there.
No.
Right? And I remember my granduncle on St. Salvador, that's Jacob Jones, he had cows growing in the bush. And every now and
can
then
see
he would draw some sort of rope to trap one or whatever. But I remember the smell, but what I remember most was him sharing. He would give us, our family, his children. He was my grandmother's brother. And then he would give to the
Community.
Okay, so why are you hogging your food? And there's something about Ramadan at the because I was in Algeria. I went through the Sahara Desert, and at the end of this, one of the things they have to do is they have to feed the poor. Okay, and I thought, what an amazing thing to do. Whatever they are, however high they are, they all do the same thing. That is culture.
Yeah.
Okay, we need to all be reaching, to heal and take responsibility for our communities. And we cannot live in a country where we accept that some children play with rats while your children are locked behind fences. It's senseless. And it's not God's way or will.
Not at all. Not at all.
Amen.
Kira, you have a text you want to read for a text for Miss Diana.
All right.
Good afternoon, great lady on your show, Lady Jones. We can and will fix our problems in this country. Keep up the conversation.
Amen.
Oh, wow, beautiful.
Please note there are forces in our country that are lost. Many of them are out to lunch.
At least they getting lunch.
Okay.
Some are just out hungry.
Okay.
Yes,
Facts.
indeed.
That's definitely true.
Yes, indeed.
Definitely. Now you talk about. You mentioned. I think it was you, Uncle, or Diane. Anyway, you mentioned us not being. I mean, being a community and loving people, but I see today that we don't. A lot of us, and when I say a lot of us, generally speaking, we don't have that love anymore and that respect for anyone because we're like how Uncle say the gas light in your car, and so I mean, of course, you still have your obligations, but you put yourself above your brothers. And going back to our conversation yesterday, we have lost being our brothers and our sister keepers, and then. Along the line in the scripture, I think it's in James somewhere where we talk about being our brothers, our burden, brother and sister, becoming a burden bearer. And so we are not lifting up or bearing anyone burdens at all.
Well, I see. Go on.
No,
Because an individual is struggling themselves, like he mentioned.
Yes.
So how, if I'm carrying a heavy burden, if I'm carrying 50 pounds, how am I supposed to carry another?
Because when Jesus was carrying that cross, somebody came along
and helped.
And it doesn't matter. You have to remember, as what you give, you receive.
Yeah, because I still think
And
that's
so if
selfishness,
you are-
even though you have,
Okay.
even though you're in that need as well.
You can only carry one lead piece at a time. You see what I'm saying? I got my lead piece. If you
have to.
I dancing, I looking at you like you better get the bus. You better let's go. The lights on, buddy. I can't take this costume off and help you. You know what I mean? So what it's gonna take is us again, number one, having these conversations, right?
Yeah.
Secondly, we're gonna have to be honest about some things.
Right.
All right. We have not. If you go through slavery and or the annals of slavery, we didn't receive the best food. We didn't receive the best housing. We didn't receive the best clothing. We didn't receive the best education. Why do you think we received the best religion?
To control our minds.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We didn't get the best religion, but we kept that religion from what we got in slavery.
They also...
And we even kept some of the food.
Yes.
Yeah.
You understand? What we call in Bahamian food is slave food.
Is it?
We just take the whatever remnants they had, they threw it at us. Now we made it tasty. We did what we had to do with it.
And now they eat
And
it.
I'm not disrespecting the ancestors who had to do what they had to do. That was a strategy.
Right.
But a strategy is not a way of life.
Yes.
A strategy is that's what you had to do to get out of that moment. We'll be out the moment
Okay,
now.
well, I just keep seeing I believe that I just keep seeing the amazing things that came out of slavery. And so it's good that we can have these two perspectives. It's because they're both real.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just given to me to just see. And, we have to realize that there were Mandelas and who all the people that have come that have been willing to sacrifice their life to give us a little light. We must remember that we have been blessed and that we have had profits from the slave ships right up to now.
And even before.
Right. Okay? And even before. We've never been
right.
left on our own.
Yeah,
Ever.
slavery interrupted us.
Okay.
It didn't create us.
Right.
It interrupted us.
But were we the Jobs of the modern day times, that we withstood the blows, right? And that we brought forth fruit that is good for the world, the music, the ideas that we have infused as well. You listen to the people that come. Listen to what they say. Nobody else is saying these things, right? We're leading the world in terms of remember your heart, remember to fight for your right. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So you have to start seeing how God is continuing to. Somebody said to me one day in France, black people are going to save the world. I'm beginning to believe it. I am beginning to believe
or
it.
some people just saying it'll be around long enough and the world will be saved.
And that's another thing.
Get out of the way.
All right, because, we're not preaching, those of us who get lost in materialism are paying such a price.
Yeah.
I don't envy them.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't.
We're going to take a quick commercial break. We will be back on Guardian Radio today.
This holiday season, come to John's on Rosetta Street, Arkamika Road for all your footwear and fashion needs, where we've got you and the family covered. Shoes, bags, jewelry, clothes, and even home appliances. John's has everything you need for work, church, play, or the party in your life. John's has Skechers, Steve Madden, New Balance, Nautica, Hey Do It, Patrick Ewing, and other trusted brands. A John's gift card is the perfect gift. So come on into John's and start your holidays off on the right foot. Merry Christmas, Bahamas!
Beulah gal, can you believe this? We are now the patrol queens of the neighborhood. We now large and in charge. So we need to check out what's going on in everybody's yard. What about that gun that we know that Junior and his homeboys just ran out? Can we report that too? Of course we can. But we could be in deep trouble if they find out. We need to report what we see, Beulah. When you call Crime Stoppers, they just answer your call in Miami. So then we can report everything? Guns, where they hiding the drugs, who shoot who part of which gang, or who disturbing the peace with the loud music and the motorcycles. Then our neighborhood will be the best in the Bahamas, and everybody gonna want to come live here. And then our house price will go up, gal. So what we waiting on? What's the number?
If you see something, say something. Let us all pitch in and stop the crime before it's your time. Call 328-8477 from Nassau or 242-300-8477 from the Family Islands. Or text us through the Crack Crime Bahamas app. Stop the crime before it's your time.
This holiday season, give yourself the gift of a fresh start with a personal loan at Fidelity. You could win refreshing prizes like a luxurious spa day, John Boat gift certificates, a cruise for two, and more. Make that move to a fresh start today. Call 356-7764. Promotion ends December 19th.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
Love the show? Want to give your support? Become a sponsor today. Call 302-2300 for our rates and packages. That's 302-2300. Become a sponsor on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Welcome back to Guardian Radio today on Guardian Radio Talk. I'm Akira, and we have Precious, the Precious One, along with Diane and Uncle Sarah. Today we're discussing remembering who we were, love, values, and community. We do have a call on the line. Oh, okay, caller? No, we don't. But we do have a text. I think Uncle would be... Uncle, sorry. Great show. I spoke to an older person before and was so disappointed when they said, thank God for slavery because it gave us Jesus. SMT. Suck my teeth.
Yeah, that so that is disappointing to hear. I'm always reminded that our ancestors or those before us, they came up in a much more rigid time than we did, right? Slavery didn't give us Jesus. Slavery gave us another Jesus, right? As talked about in the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 4. For if he that cometh preaches another Jesus, whom we have not preached, or if ye receive another spirit, which ye have not received, or another gospel, which ye have not accepted, ye might well bear with him. So we have accepted another Jesus, another spirit, and another gospel, and that other Jesus, spirit, and gospel is a perverse one. As it talks about in the book of Isaiah, chapter 19, verse 14, it talks about a perverse spirit mingled amongst the people. That's why we're having this conversation today, because we have a perverse spirit mingled amongst us based on us following the image and the likeness of the beast. It's talked about in Revelation chapter 13. So yes, they feel as if I've accepted something that is going to bring me salvation. But in the meantime, the people who gave you what they say is salvation are building their heaven on earth while you catching hell.
That's right. Well said.
And that's the problem.
Well said.
Wow.
Tell the children the truth.
Yeah, Bob Marley.
Okay, so I just as we wrap this show up today, I just want us to just dive into the structures and the things that we can put in place to start rebuilding ourselves, to having a better community, rebuilding love, and just being a strong community again. So Diana, I'd start with you. I want you to go ahead.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you both for inviting me. And I mean, I am just so honored to be here and in your company, all three of you.
Likewise.
And I think that this is a very much, we should have meetings. We should be in, I am telling you, as I was walking through what we call ghetto, people in there have things to say.
Right.
You know, so maybe we could take, music in there and sit and just talk to people and hear people. And that is community. Community is within the community of me. Right. And so if I'm in communion with myself, with my higher self, and my God, then I can only reflect that in the world outside. And so as long as that's not happening, you will not have the unity that you want. It is an individual task that we're given. It's what we come to do. And so we must believe that we can. We must stop seeing Bahamians as negatively, as show them also how rich they were and are capable of being, because nothing dies, it's within them. It just needs the proper ground for it to sprout. But the seed is there, right? And so that is what I would say. And if you can build a porch,
I think they already moved away from the porch building. So. I think probably we need to build something else other than a porch.
Well, we are as a people in a state whereby, for people who want to bring what we're talking about to fruition, that's who I'm talking to. For people who are not interested, I'm not talking to you. All right? In Revelation chapter 22, verse 11, it says, "He that is unjust, let him be unjust still. He which is filthy, let him be filthy still. And he that is righteous, let him be righteous still. And he that is holy, let him be holy still." So I ain't here to browbeat you. I ain't here to say I better than you.
Right.
I'm here to say we have a common problem. Are you interested in fixing it? Yes? All right, step over here. You ain't interested in fixing it? My Lord, respect. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Because at the end of the day, the Messiah came to his own. He say his own received him not, but he also loved his own until the end. And he worked with those people who worked with him. And that's ultimately what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to work with people who are interested in working what we're talking about.
Right. Support all the people that are doing the right thing. Support them.
Yeah.
Support the artists that are support.
Because
right?
we in the inner cities.
Right.
The church that we started in Bainton is now off of Wolf Road. We didn't come out of the inner city.
Okay.
You understand? We have meetings every Sunday. We're on Zoom almost every day. But it's up to people's willingness to want to change, or just want to know more than they already knew.
Or believe they can change.
But with that being said, a lot of people, they want to change, but are they really committed to
they
the
don't
change?
believe it.
So you don't change by yourself, you change the environment. You don't change people, you change environments. Once you can change the environment, people adapt to the new environment. That's how change happens. So we have to work on changing the environments that people are in, which is why what Diana is saying is so important, cleaning up the garbage and making sure people just respect the areas that they're living in. Because once you keep it clean, people adapt to keeping it clean. And if my outside clean, I go on the inside clean.
Right.
And vice versa. Yeah.
So, Diana, how do we start cleaning up?
I think it starts with cleaning within. You're not going to have cleaning without unless you're cleaning up within.
Yeah.
And so to help us, those of us that are a little further up the road, then we do what we can for the others. We don't judge them.
Right.
We don't condemn them. We don't force them. Right? But trust that they say when the student is ready, that, okay, walk with the truths that our ancestors walk with. Go connect to them and follow them. Everything works magically. The world is magic. Let the children play.
Wow.
That's amazing.
And make sure the environment they playing in safe.
That's not that is
Oh
for
my
sure.
God, the playground.
Yeah.
They say you are a product of your environment.
Yeah. So ultimately, community is common unity. And I can speak for what I'm doing personally. When the Holy Coptic Church of the Black Messiah, when we come out to teach, we are saying that this is a unification doctrine. We are taking the Africa out of all of the monotheistic religions, Christianity, Judaism, Islam. We're utilizing all of the perspectives of our great leaders, Elijah Muhammad, Malcolm X, Dr. Martin Luther King, Lyndon Pinland, Sir Randall Fox. We're taking all of those aspects of what the best parts of what our people brought to us, and we are efficiently managing them, which is true economy, managing your resources. And once we can do that effectively, we can then bring again what's called this Christ consciousness. Don't wait for no man to come out the sky. Because you all say he was coming in the year 2000. He ain't reached yet. And that's why, this why this generation doesn't have faith in church. People don't go to church no more because you lied to us. I'm one of those people you lied to because I was waiting for him to come in 2000. He didn't come. And then you went from Jesus coming out of the sky to prosperity gospel. You just forget about Jesus. All you start talking about is put money in the plate and then make sure God could give you a little car. If God gives me a car, it better be a Lamborghini or some type of supercar. Don't give me no little Suzuki.
God
bring it. So I'm saying it that way because I want you to hear what I'm saying loudly and clearly. Stop lying to people. Stop pretending that you're talking to some God. You ain't talking to God. The God of this world is Satan. According to 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 4. In the NLT. Go read it yourself.
We have a call on the line. Caller, you're on the air.
Yes, good afternoon to Uncle and guest.
Good afternoon, 52.
Calling at the end of the show, I was out all day, Uncle. I just came in and I heard, but you know the last few narratives, right?
Yeah, brother.
I don't want to elaborate. People have heard me on the airwaves. But I'll just like to say thank you very much, because over the last maybe about 1,000 years, there was a lot of mass psychosis going on that has created a lot of mass conformity, right? In which people conformed, especially with religious ideas and concepts. And so, like I used to say, the raping of the mind is a very serious thing, but I'd just like to thank you and just shut up. Have a good day, brother.
Thank you, my brother.
Thank you.
Thank you, 52.
I got to remind the listeners, they think this Uncle show today.
No,
I know, yeah, he's very popular.
I am
very popular.
Oh, I have a text here. Andres is bigger than Trinidad.
Oh,
it is.
Bigger than Trinidad.
Wow.
Okay.
Bigger
So
than
that speaks a lot of
Trinidad.
volume.
Yes.
There's
Okay?
a lot of water there, though.
A lot of water. We barging
water.
water from Andres to here, to Nassau. So we got an island bigger than Trinidad with water. Come on, man. We're feeding ourselves.
And I just want to say, we must remember that the family islands, I call this the United Islands of the Bahamas, because this family island business doesn't go with me, right? They have maintained the healthiest communities that we have. We need to acknowledge them. Because I wonder if we're only speaking about Nassau when we say the communities are dead. They have communities.
Right.
Their children are healthier, right? And so I just say, if we're going to educate, give the healthiest ones the best education.
Yeah.
Really? Okay?
And that education needs to start with knowledge of self and
That's
kind.
right.
Most definitely.
Shout out to my big brother Koji, who sent that text, and he's a a marine specialist, and amongst other things. So thank you for that. Yeah. So I agree. Many of the communities in what we call them the out islands, we call them the family islands, etc.
Really, truly.
Because they don't have as much distraction. That's why when you go in,
and they're close to the land
close
still.
to,
They fishing
yeah,
still.
that's why when
they
you
farming. Thank God.
When I worked in Abaco for a while, when you say you going to Nassau, one of the first things they say is, "Mom, bring me some chicken, man. Bring me some fast food," because they don't have it.
Right.
So true.
Which they don't understand in many instances is a blessing, but we who are just consuming, and I'm not saying, just only grow food out of your backyard and don't never go to a restaurant. I'm not saying that.
We did not say that.
I'm saying just balance, man.
Yeah.
Just balance.
And stay close to the earth.
But make sure that garden in your yard, though.
That's right.
You understand? Make sure, or you have a community farm.
And start building community farms. Like clear away the garbage and start planting. Plant your potatoes, plant your onions,
I can
plant
tell
your whatever.
When you start doing that,
imagine you walking home and you could go into that space and cut a sugar cane or dig up something. Can you imagine?
Going on?
Right.
And there's nothing like when you could harvest your own.
And guess what?
Right.
You start to know people better.
And
yes.
That's
I
the
didn't know there was a community.
There it is.
You start eating with people who you normally would walk past.
That's right.
So I know we have a few minutes left, but we have a texter that says we have not barged water from Andros in 10 years.
No, that's true. I agree. I agree. But we did, though. That's the point I was making. Yeah.
So where do we get water from now? I'm afraid. Where do we get water?
I have no idea.
Does
maybe
anybody
the texter
know?
could send us the answer.
Yeah.
But we do have well fields and we do have, means of getting water. But the point I'm making is Andros is a land that ultimately has enough water and land for us to feed ourselves. That's the only point I'm trying to make right now.
Right, do they want to have that role?
Well, you got people who trying to put a port there, who trying to mine.
Oh, they'll want to put a golf course. Hello.
So us eating off the land ain't a priority.
Do you know that each island could have, like in France, if you go to Bretagne, you'll have this kind of wine or that kind of meat, or we could easily do that here.
Yes.
Stephen McKinney's son, Steve, who grows
that
farm there, he says everything grows here.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Right? So let me get off. Goodbye.
So I want to thank you all for being here. I'm just going to let you close out with a closing remark. Diana, I'm going to let you go first. And then we're going to go ahead, close out with a quick closing remark.
All right, my closing remark is that I love you. I love my country, and I have not given up. I do not believe we will be taken over. I believe we will rise.
Uncle?
Amen. I just want to say that, that Christ consciousness or Christ consciousness, it's here. And we need to now embrace it. And we need to now continue to have these type of conversations and build our communities. Namaste.
Akira?
I just want to say, as we reflect on love, values, and community, may we always remember who we are and choose to live it out daily with intention and our very own compassion.
Yes.
Thank you for listening to Guardian Radio today. We are signing off. Have a good, wonderful rest of
Naughty and
there's Naughty and MJ coming up next. Yes.